This video is of a little fox family that moved into what we call the tree stump den. That's out, maybe 100 feet from our house, and they live underneath that big tree stump that you can see there. It's a single little pup in this litter. Maybe they had a bigger litter, but it's just one by this time here, and he likes to get out and chase his tail. He's pretty fond of the tail and wants to catch it. And Mom plays with him a good bit here also, and the dad has been more present than we usually see with other fox families. The dad, you'll see in a minute, is kind of a lighter color, and by lighter I mean he's the father is kind of a paler color, especially by comparison to the mom there. Now, I will say that in this video here, I think that the colors are a little bit overly intense just due to sort of video recording artifact or error or whatever, because Mom there that's nursing the pup, she's not quite that orange really in real life. And the greenery here, this is on June 10th of 2019. It's probably not quite that intensely green out there, so a little bit of video error here, but it gives you a good idea of things. And especially when you compare the mom fox to the dad fox there, you can see that she is kind of a prettier, much more vibrant color, and that's real, that she actually looks that way. And the pup is colored a little bit more like the dad here, a little bit paler. That pup will probably grow up to be more like the mom in terms of coloration. And I say that just because that's the way most of the foxes are around here, is they mainly look like the mom rather than looking like the dad. This dad is particularly pale in coloration here. There's a good shot of him right there, and you can see the kind of the contrast between the two. So Mom's nursing the pup here, and she's pretty tolerant to nursing. We think the pup's about 8 weeks old here. That's, I'll have to confess, a guess. But when to kind of give you a size estimate here, the mom and dad fox there, they're about the size of average to large house cats. They're pretty trim and fit, so they're not a fat cat, but they're about like a large one. We've also found it interesting that while this particular male fox, the parent there, is a lot more present than some of the other male foxes have been that we've seen with other litters, and not that we've seen a lot of them, but a few here. While he's more present, he's not playful particularly with the pup. He's tolerant of the pup, but does not engage in play in any way like the mom does here. Mom will really kind of get going. She looks like she's young herself and still enjoys play, and so she'll really get going with the little one there and get pretty rough and running around, and in a little while here in the video we're going to see her race up a tree, which is one of the things that the very young foxes do when they're playing, is they're learning to climb trees, and they'll run up the trees and back down and whatnot. So Mom does that here. I'll point it out when she does it. She just did a little kind of jack-in-the-box thing there, where she had been underneath and was having the pup chase her underneath. And another thing about this little pup is that he seems to be indestructible when it comes to flopping around and bonking his head on the rocks and stuff here. We've never seen him get hurt from play like that. One thing that's also kind of interesting is it looks like in playing between the mom and the pups, and if there were siblings in the litter, then they would play and roughhouse, and it looks like they might tear each other's ears up, which we think they do because from year to year we can recognize some of the same foxes, and they'll have more nicks in their ears. And that's actually what we use as an identification tool on the foxes, is that we keep a careful watch on their ears and photograph them and take notes about exactly where the nicks are, and then we can identify, is this actually the same foxes as we were seeing earlier in the year or last year or for the last couple of years. And this pair here is new to us as far as we can tell, though one interesting thing about them is that they are friendly with another mama fox. Okay, there goes mama fox up in the tree back there, and Daddy's standing there watching. So right to the right of the trunk, she's hard to see up there. I don't think the pup went up the tree. It's just the mom, and she hangs out there for a good while. But as I was talking about the other mom that we see here, they're friendly to each other, and we strongly suspect that this mom here on this video is a daughter of the other mom that we see, because we think we can identify that other mom from the past 2 years of being in this territory here. And this one is very friendly with that other mom. So within the same territory, while they're both nursing here, the other mom clearly has a litter somewhere. We don't know where. It's not on our property, we don't think. But she has a litter, and yet they're both tolerant of each other within the territory. So we think maybe that indicates that maybe they're related. About 2 years ago, we had a similar kind of situation where there were actually 3 mama foxes that all had litters, and they appeared to somewhat communally share responsibilities of babysitting and taking the little ones out on outings, because we never could figure out exactly whose pups were whose, and we could clearly identify them, and we'd see all 3 moms together at times, with a total of, I believe, 6 pups, if I recall correctly, on that year. So it was kind of interesting that they were happy to be together in the same territory. It's a little bit contrary to what I would have thought, to the way I would have thought things would actually work. It's also interesting to us that while we think we have a mother-daughter who are both nursing litters, there's also, we're pretty sure that we're seeing a 3rd nursing mom who's coming in, and we don't think that the others are friendly to her. We haven't had a crystal clear interaction, but I'm pretty sure that especially with this dad that we have in this video, that we've seen this dad chase off that other nursing mom, and she'll kind of sneak in, into the territory and pass through and whatnot at times. This particular video here, that's like 10 minutes long or whatever it is sections that are taken out of an hour and a half total from this particular morning on June 10th, 2019. So that's the span of how much time you got here that you're looking at. And it's there's some periods where mom may disappear for a brief moment, but basically during this hour and a half, she was there the entire time. We've had people ask us how we get the camera set up and whatnot here. It's basically a security camera that's remotely operatable to where I can view it from inside the house, and I can move it around. You'll see it move occasionally, and that's being done remotely. It doesn't seem to bother the foxes. They're very quiet. The camera is very quiet, and you can pretty well move it. If one were standing right beside it, they would hear it, and they pay attention to it, but it wouldn't necessarily alarm them. So to make it all work, I have to set up this camera. Actually, there's several cameras that are videotaping this particular outdoor play area. Have to set them up in the off season. The foxes don't use these dens year round. They only use them for the time when they've got pups that are basically nursing, and and some after they're nursing, probably after they're weaned, you know, a little bit. But it's primarily in the springtime and early summer that they want to have access to the dens. So in the winter, we can go in and set up cameras and whatnot, and there's a camera underneath that tree stump. In fact, there's 2 cameras underneath the tree stump that on some other videos here you can get a good look at the natural underground environment under there. And it's pretty small, it's pretty tight, like maybe 3 feet around, 3 feet diameter, say, and with just a very minimal amount of headroom under there, to where the adults are having to crouch down and crawl pretty much and whatnot. So, but here on this day, it was a good day. Mom was feeling good, and she'd nursed the pup here, and they had a long play session here where Daddy went off, and I don't know where he goes. I think he goes and just hangs out somewhere to sort of get some peace and quiet, and Mom stays around, and then ultimately she'll put the pup underground there, and she'll take off and go to wherever it is she hangs out for the afternoon and sleeps, or whatever it is she does.